R&B superstar Chris Brown is the latest celebrity to now come under focus in the Sean Combs story due to a new explosive documentary. Older allegations about Brown assaulting a woman at a Combs party are being viewed in a very different light.
Chris Brown is sweating like crazy right now. Word is Diddy's got his hands on some wild footage that's got Chris in full-blown panic mode. After rumors started swirling about an explosive video linked to some serious accusations, things are heating up. And with Diddy's track record, this one isn't looking like it's going to drop quietly. Ever since the news broke about a new documentary coming out, Chris Brown hasn't been getting much sleep. The documentary, titled Chris Brown, A History of Violence, has already stirred up a storm. In the film, multiple women have come forward to share their experiences with Chris, and the details are shocking.
The girls want to know a couple of questions, things. For the young ladies, I mean, what's up, man? You got a girl or what?
Nah, I'm keeping my options open, so y'all be checking for me, you know?
At the forefront of the documentary is a woman who didn't want her name revealed, so she goes by Jane Doe. She claims Chris Brown mistreated her back in 2020, though his lawyers have denied her accusations. In the film, Jane Doe talks about how difficult it was to come forward, saying that even as a Jane Doe, some people figured out who she was, leading her to face death threats. In the movie, she recounts her move to Los Angeles to pursue a dance career. In December 2020, she went on a trip to Miami with a friend. On December 30th, she says she received an invitation to join Diddy on his yacht. Once she arrived, she noticed Chris Brown was there and saw it as a sign that maybe he could help guide her career or offer advice. She talked to him, and at some point he handed her a drink. Shortly after that, her memory got fuzzy. She also doesn't remember seeing him pour it, but she drank it, and then he handed her another one. After that, she was kind of out of it. They ended up in a bedroom and she told him to stop, but he wouldn't listen. In the documentary, Chris Brown's legal team insists that the claims this woman made are completely false. His rep hasn't commented on the situation, and neither has Diddy. In case the title didn't make it obvious, the documentary paints a picture of Chris Brown's complex and troubled past. Chris has faced multiple assault allegations over the years, with one of the most publicized cases being the infamous 2009 incident with his ex-girlfriend, Rihanna. Following the incident with Rihanna on February 9, 2009, Chris faced serious legal consequences. He was charged with felony assault and making criminal threats in March, ultimately pleading guilty 3 months later. His plea deal included community labor, 5 years of probation, and domestic violence counseling. In January 2013, Rihanna shocked fans by confirming they were back together. But the reunion didn't last long. They split for good 3 months later. Chris's struggles led him to rehab in 2013 to deal with substance abuse and anger issues. Then, in 2017, his ex, Karrueche Tran, was granted a 5-year restraining order after sharing threatening messages in court and alleging physical abuse. But there's also a part of the documentary where a woman named Lizanne Gutierrez shares her experience with Chris Brown from 2016. She claims she was invited to his Las Vegas hotel room after a show, where things allegedly took a turn. She says she tried to snap a picture of him, but as soon as he noticed, things got heated. Chris Brown punched her in the face, his security grabbed her phone, and she was escorted out. She knows she shouldn't have taken the picture, but that doesn't justify being hit.
To be honest, I think I got stuck in the moment when I saw him acting crazy. And once I got my phone, he saw me with my phone. Chris Brown punched me in the face. His security grabbed my phone, and I got escorted out of the park.
Lizanne did sue Chris Brown in February 2016, and they eventually reached a private settlement in September 2017. But this isn't the end of it. What's also interesting about this documentary and Chris Brown is that his name just popped up the other day because of Diddy. We've already mentioned that Chris was on Diddy's yacht, but there's more to be said about that whole situation. All kinds of people and celebrities have been brought up recently thanks to Diddy and the allegations against him that are coming to light. But surprise, surprise, Chris Brown is now tied to Diddy, and it's not looking good. Now let's be clear, Jane Doe isn't accusing Diddy himself of any misconduct in this particular incident, although she claims she did see him at the event and noted that he seemed nice. The bigger context here can't be ignored. This allegation about Chris Brown surfaces while Diddy is already under intense scrutiny, facing multiple SA lawsuits and currently charged with federal crimes in New York, including racketeering conspiracy, trafficking by force, fraud and coercion, and even transportation for prostitution. Diddy has been denied bail several times and now awaits his trial, which is currently scheduled for May of next year. Right now, Diddy's brand is beyond toxic, it's radioactive. Every major public figure and company is keeping their distance, avoiding any association with him and, by extension, the alleged crimes he's implicated in. A critical part of the criminal case against Diddy is the claim that he ran a criminal organization, a network of accomplices who played roles in or enabled the alleged crimes. As with any such case, co-conspirators and witnesses become an important point. Could celebrities or other high-profile figures become part of this investigation, even if indirectly? Is Chris Brown a target all of a sudden as one of those people who helped keep the freak-offs running? Now back to the documentary. Jane Doe says that when she stepped onto Diddy's luxury yacht, she walked into a trap. Chris Brown handing her drinks throughout the evening is something that Diddy is known for. It's exactly how he drugged a few of his victims too. She felt the same symptoms that other Diddy victims have described: unable to move, dizzy, and weak. It's an experience of powerlessness. Curiously, Jane Doe says she continued to communicate with Chris Brown after the incident. She reportedly sought closure and clarity on what happened, something that's not uncommon in such cases. Often victims may remain in contact with their abuser due to a range of psychological factors, including confusion, denial, or fear. Later, through therapy, she says she fully came to grips with the horror of what had happened. We also mentioned that Jane Doe filed a lawsuit against Chris Brown back in 2020 for $20 million, claiming SA. Chris denied the allegations publicly, releasing text messages from Jane Doe, including a nude photo she reportedly sent him and messages indicating she still wanted to see him. In one text, she even called him the best she'd had, and a voicemail allegedly recorded her saying she wanted to meet up with him again. Chris used these messages to assert his innocence, even posting about it on social media, writing, "No more dragging me through the mud. You don't play with people's lives like that." However, Jane Doe's legal team eventually dropped her case, citing additional information provided by the police that led them to believe they couldn't represent her in the matter. Her case was later dismissed due to lack of prosecution, though it was without prejudice, meaning it could be refiled in the future. Even with the dismissal, Jane Doe has continued to share her story, and her attorney, Ariel Mitchell, publicly stated that she believes her client's account 100%. Ariel also expressed regret, saying she felt she couldn't build the level of trust with Jane Doe necessary to get all the information she needed to represent her effectively. This makes one wonder, was there more to the story that Jane Doe wasn't able to share with her legal team? It's worth noting that the setting of this alleged assault, the yacht, plays a significant role here. While Diddy isn't directly implicated in Jane Doe's allegations, the yacht belongs to him, and similar incidents have reportedly occurred on his properties. Think about Grau Mark, who alleged that Diddy's son, Christian Combs, assaulted her on another Diddy-owned yacht in 2022. This lawsuit claims Diddy shares responsibility due to premises liability, meaning he would have a legal obligation to maintain a safe environment on his property. That lawsuit is still ongoing, but the parallels between the two cases are striking. With all this in mind, a looming question is whether Chris Brown could somehow play a role in Diddy's prosecution. Could he have information relevant to Diddy's alleged criminal activities? There's no concrete evidence linking Brown to the crimes Diddy is accused of, and many of Brown's legal troubles are unrelated or have been resolved. But in cases involving allegations of widespread abuse, federal prosecutors may cast a wide net, questioning anyone within the accused's social or professional orbit. But there is something to be said in Chris Brown's defense, too. Not everyone thinks that Chris is to blame. Yes, he made mistakes in the past, and he admitted them. However, it seems to many like his situation is being exploited. The problem I have with the Chris Brown documentary is that when it comes to the victims and alleged victims, these networks aren't doing it because they're trying to actually raise awareness to anything. They are...
With the documentary, like the Chris Brown documentary, is when it comes to the victims and alleged victims, these networks aren't doing it because they're trying to actually raise awareness to anything. They are just capitalizing off trauma. Are they giving the proceeds that they will make off the documentary to any domestic violence organizations, any mental health organizations, any organizations that help people work through trauma? If not, then they're just profiting off people's pain. And I don't like that. Are any of the proceeds going to any of those things?
I'm looking at, me, I'm looking at it right now.
And in Chris's case, I don't know how you create these kinds of documentaries based off allegations. If you're reporting on things that actually happened, things he's been arrested for, I get it. But putting a new accuser on there, having her face covered up, distorting her voice, how do we know that's even real and not something done for TV?
People seem to agree with what Charlemagne the God had to say. It seems to many that the producers of the show are trying to profit from trauma and a pretty bad situation. That's why folks have no respect for this type of thing. Comments online say things like, "So y'all gonna feature the woman that accused him of SA? It was documented that she was found to have lied. If you're going to tell it, tell the truth." I hope he sues everyone involved because it's been proven at least one lied and tried to extort money from him. I already know I'm not going to watch this because it's BS. Whose idea was this to put this out? As we can see, the truth isn't easy to find. It's not exactly black and white, so to speak. There's more to this story, and only time will tell if Chris actually decides to sue some of the producers of the show. But what do you think about the latest allegations against Chris? Do you think he's guilty? Also, what about his connection to Diddy? Do you think there's more to his involvement? Let us know your thoughts down below.